Hey there, everyone. This is Harlan Kilstein. I'm the top dog over at the Dogington Post. And today we're bringing you another edition of Dogington University. In Dogington University, we introduce you to the top trainers in the world who help you solve problems related to your fur kids. So we have with us today someone who is making status on the line, who is going to be teaching us about his invention, the ShakeTrainer. Now, I have to tell you that when I saw the ShakeTrainer the first time, I was skeptical. First of all, number one is to give you some background that our guest today, I know his family for years, and I was at Pet Super Zoo in Las Vegas, and we bumped into one another, and I couldn't believe it. And I saw his product, and I went, no, can't be. So he came over after the show when we were both back home in Florida, and he said he demonstrated for me. Instead of demonstrating it for me, he trained my dog not to beg at the table. The training took all of about 2 seconds. Now, since then, I've discovered that having a training device that trains a dog in about 2 seconds is scary to some people. I had one person who told me that absolutely not, no way would they allow a product like this in their home. And I invited them to watch the DVD that came with the product, and they went, that's it? That's how the product works? Oh, I wouldn't have a problem with that. Can you get me one for my dog? And the truth of the matter is that I found that as soon as people find out how quickly and easily and effortlessly you can train your dog to stop doing unwanted behaviors, then everybody wants a ShakeTrainer too. Now, I have a lot of people who have asked lots and lots of questions, but the best thing that we thought that we could do is bring you the person who is the originator of the ShakeTrainer, who will explain how is it that the ShakeTrainer works so well. So, ladies and gentlemen, friends of the Dogington Post, let me introduce you my friend Sean Klein. We're going to switch things over to him, and he is now the presenter. So go ahead and show your screen.
Got it. How's it going, everybody? It's a pleasure to be here. Hi, Harlan.
We see your screen. There you go.
Excellent. You
Good
see
job.
It? Great. All right. Well, I'm very excited to be on your webinar and explain to all your listeners exactly how ShakeTrainer works and why it's a training tool that people who have a rambunctious pup should consider. Now, I'm going to keep going through the slides, and I just want people to know on the bottom here you see there's the URL, which we have created a page. It's shaketrainer.com/Dogington Post, and you'll see later we have a special offer for all of you listeners out there. So I'll continue.
I'm sorry for interrupting, but I should have mentioned that if you pay attention, we're going to be giving away a ShakeTrainer at the end to someone in attendance. So pay attention, because we're going to be asking you a question based on what Sean shares with us today. So
Absolutely.
Let's go, and someone's going to win a ShakeTrainer. And let me tell you, this is awesome.
Awesome. Okay. So I'll get started with exactly how it started for me personally. Why did I come up with ShakeTrainer? Why was this a product that I invented? It actually came out of bare necessity. It was something that I had no choice but to make. I had to come up with a training tool that would take care of my Irish setter's crazy behavior that almost got me kicked out from where I was living at the time. I had a letter in the mail come to me from my landlord saying that my dog has been problematic, and that if I don't fix it, I will be kicked out. I'll be evicted. So I knew I had to do something. And my dog had a barking issue. He would just get excited for no reason and just bark. And it wasn't, barking that we condone. If somebody would knock at the door, I was totally fine with my dog barking. But this was just useless barking. It was almost like a nervous barking. He would raid the garbage. He would jump up on guests when someone would come at the door. He would just jump up on them. So I knew something needed to be done. So I needed something that wouldn't shock, spray, or emit any sort of ultrasound. And we all know here, as Dogington Post readers, we all know that these three things are very, very bad, and it's a cruel thing. You wouldn't want to do it to your own children, let alone your dog. So I knew that I needed something that would be very humane and not harmful. So the humane aspect is very important, and one thing that I know from most people is we don't have that much time, so I needed it to be fast acting, something that would work very quickly and show results right away. So the product that came to be was the ShakeTrainer. Now I'm going to go into detail later on about how the ShakeTrainer works, but I want to keep explaining to you why ShakeTrainer is the product that it is and why we actually went ahead and released it to the world. One thing that we have to learn is that people in general, it's a sad truth today that we just don't have that much leisure time. And you can see here on this chart that the average, this is about an average workday for a regular employed person, and from the age of 25 to 54, and with children. So you can see the amount of leisure time that we have is very small in comparison to our work time and our sleeping. we do tend to sleep more than we have leisure. So a lot of the leisure time that we have available really isn't available, unfortunately, for our pets. And this is just a sad truth that we have to realize. So we needed a product, a training tool for the rest of the world to use that would be very fast, very easy, and would allow them to get all of their issues resolved. So here's some more sad news. U.S. leisure time has plummeted. So it just goes to show that we have less and less time. Starting in 2008, we all know that there was that economic downturn, and now we're just all working harder, which it's understandable, but it's a shame because we just have less time for ourselves and less times for our loved ones and less times for our dogs. So we just don't have enough free time. So ShakeTrainer is something that is fast acting, and it needed to be out of necessity. There's another sad truth out there about dog ownership. It's people are giving away their dogs left and right, and one of the largest reasons, the main reasons, is because of behavioral issues. And so we're kind of on a mission here to let people know about ShakeTrainer so that we can have less congestion in the shelters all across our country. There's just so many dogs that are just being let go because people just don't know how to deal with their behavior. So we found a study that was conducted in Columbus, in Ohio, at a humane society, and they took a survey of 56 dog owners who surrendered their pets, and they realized that a third of dog owners who gave up their dogs were doing it because of perceived behavioral problems. That's a huge problem. We have to realize that there's that problem out there, and we need to all, as a group effort, try to help anybody who has any issues with their dogs. And we believe that ShakeTrainer does just that. So here you can see I have listed the most commonly reported behavior problems. And the first one is hyperactivity. Now, hyperactivity, that's an issue that mainly is due to people just having their dog home too long and not running them enough. That's not something that ShakeTrainer can realistically fix, But I think most of the Dogington Post readers are smart enough to know that hyperactivity is something that can be fixed just by, running and walking and letting the dog release its energy, which is kind of a common sense thing. But again, because of our lack of time, we just don't have the ability to do so. The second things are housebreaking. Now I'm going to explain later on how ShakeTrainer can be used to prevent any sort of messes in the house, which I'm sure people are familiar with, especially with puppies. And biting, that's also an issue. And destructive chewing, people get very angry when their dog bites their couches or their shoes, and that's normal dog behavior. But unfortunately, not everybody knows that that's normal dog behavior. But there's ways to solve it, and ShakeTrainer does just that. And the list goes on of behaviors here. The barking also is an issue, and ShakeTrainer also rectifies that. So there's another thing to take into consideration. I took this into consideration because I looked at all my options when my Irish setter, Simba, was misbehaving, and I had almost gotten kicked out of my apartment. I was looking into training, and at the time, I didn't have, hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to spend on the issue. So I looked into dog training, but I just found it to be too expensive. I mean, training is not. It's a very good thing, but for people who can't afford it, sometimes they need an alternative, and ShakeTrainer is also that. So the cost of training could be anywhere from $125 a session, sometimes all the way up to $2,500, sometimes even more if you take them to those camps where you leave, the training camps where they stay on a trainer's property for a few weeks, and they get really, really seriously. It's almost like a military training. But I don't know if that's something that most people do. I don't think it is. So ShakeTrainer resolves an issue of lack of time, and it's also at an affordable price. So there's something that I want everybody to know, that we have a 7-minute money-back guarantee, that if you guys don't see any sort of change or improvement in your dog's behavior within 7 minutes, you just mail us back the unit and you get your full refund minus the shipping. And the price of our ShakeTrainer is $29.95, which is way less than what's out there, way less when you consider what the cost of dog training is. So this is something that's very affordable and very effective, and it's very fast and very humane. I want everyone to realize this. It's a very humane tool, and Harlan can vouch for it. He's seen the way it works. It worked great for his little dog. And don't forget, like I said earlier, we have a special discount for all the Dogington Post readers. So I'm going to reveal that to you guys at the end of the webinar. So I'm going to explain how ShakeTrainer works. It's a very simple product. There's not much complexity to it, but it's very smart. It uses lots of interesting learning tools that dogs tend to learn easy with. So every unit comes with a 5-minute instructional DVD, and the DVD is split into 2 steps. The first step, it's a conditioning step. It is the most important step, and it only takes 60 seconds to do, and you only have to do it once. And what that step does is it teaches your dog to associate the sound that ShakeTrainer makes to the loss of a treat. So the dog doesn't want to hear or see that sound ever again. So again, I'll repeat it. The dog will just associate the sound to the loss of a treat. When you do step 1, you're teaching the dog to understand that that noise is the representation of losing a treat. Now, it doesn't mean that every time you shake you have to take a treat away, but the conditioning step requires you to do that, but then you never have to do it again. It's just so that the dog understands what the sound means. To go into the the psychological part of ShakeTrainer. There's a psychology behind it, and really we took one of the most prominent psychologists out there and scientists, and everybody knows Pavlov, Ivan Petrovich Pavlov. That's his full name, and he studied the laws on the formation of conditioned reflexes. Now, in English, that means he basically realized that dogs and people react to certain stimulus, to certain noises, or we can associate things, and we can stir a behavior by associations of noise associations or associations to certain things. So he realized that dogs responded to a bell sound that he struck. So he would strike a bell when the dogs were fed, and if the bell was sounded in close association with their meal, the dogs learned to associate the sound of the bell with food. So after a while, at the mere sound of the bell, they responded by drooling. So it's very interesting because we realized, especially with ShakeTrainer, and especially with step 1, the dogs will easily and quickly learn to associate the sound that ShakeTrainer makes to the loss of a treat. And when you guys do step 1, it's really impressive because it's almost like a magic trick. You're going to notice that your dog will not eat the food that you leave on the floor. And for most dogs, food is probably the most cherished thing on earth. So to watch your dog leave a treat, or even if you decide to use a piece of steak or turkey, it doesn't matter what it is, they'll just leave, your dog will leave it on the floor and just stare at it. And that's when you know that ShakeTrainer is actually step 1 is actually completed. So he also, to get back to Pavlov realized that conditioning forms the basis of much of the learned human behavior. So it goes, when we think of conditioning, it's something that can be used for animals, and it's something that we as humans we use ourselves. So Pavlov won the Nobel Prize, and we won a few awards of our own. Obviously not as prestigious, but these are prestigious enough to share with your listeners. We won the 2011 Pet Business Editor's Choice Award, and I don't know if I'm sure people in the industry know, but I don't know if consumers of the pet world know that the Pet Business magazine is one of the most prominent magazines out there for the pet business world. And we won another award in 2013 from the Pet Product News International, and we're very humbled and very, very happy to have won those awards, and we feel that it's just good for people to know that ShakeTrainer is a very effective tool and humane. So then to continue on to explain how ShakeTrainer works, once you've done step 1 and the dog is conditioned, you move on to step 2. And step 2 is a very simple process. You basically show or shake the ShakeTrainer whenever the dog does the unwanted behavior you want to correct. So here you see the list of all the 14 behaviors that ShakeTrainer can permanently correct. And the list goes from barking to chasing, chewing, digging, going into restricted areas, going potty indoors, jumping up, mounting, play biting, pulling on leash, raiding garbage, running away, door charging, stealing food, and more. So I remember with Harlan's case, his dog Kala was begging for food, and I know that that's an issue that he had. So I had told him that after you do step 1, when Kala is begging for food, show her the ShakeTrainer and see how she reacts. So he would just show her the ShakeTrainer, and she'd roll back a little bit. And then when he really didn't want her to be begging, or at least near the table annoying all of his guests or annoying his family begging for food, he would just leave the ShakeTrainer on the floor, and she would just totally understand that this was something that she shouldn't be doing, and she stopped doing it. She just went to her bed and just laid down and didn't ask for food anymore. So I know Harlan was happy about that, and I was happy to see it work as well, and glad that I could help a friend. And I would like everyone who knows or who has a dog that has even if it's not a fully fledged bad behavior, because we look at these, like, for example, like I was saying before, barking. Barking is something that we as dog owners, we need to differentiate good barking from bad barking. And good barking is something that I think is very important, especially even for security purposes. We live in a house, if there's, God forbid, intruders or somebody, we want the dog to inform us that somebody's at the front door or somebody's by the window. So that's the good barking. And ShakeTrainer should only be used for the annoying barking, for the useless barking, the nervous barking or the attention barking. So that's something that I'm sure Dogington Post readers are smart enough to tell what to use it for. But it's just something that that should be said. And chasing. When the dog chases bicycles or chases the UPS man, the poor UPS man or the poor FedEx man, the dog will probably be so excited to see that truck or see the UPS man that you're gonna have to shake it, and you're gonna have to shake it pretty hard so that the dog hears the sound. You won't just be able to show it. A lot of the behavioral issues, especially where the dog is close to you, it would have to be used where you'd have to you can just show the ShakeTrainer, because step one is so effective that just showing it works well enough. So I'd like to also go through the differences of positive and negative reinforcement. I know that this is a very touchy subject for some. But there's something that ShakeTrainer's effectiveness comes from its use of both positive and negative reinforcement. And I'd like to just go through some examples later. I'm going to go through some examples later on about how we use negative reinforcement in our own human lives, just to explain just how common it is and how effective it is just for our own selves. So ShakeTrainer, it punishes bad behavior with a noise and rewards good behavior with a praise. And you'll see when you get the product, the DVD will have at the end, there's a menu that's interactive where you can select those 14 behaviors, and when you select it, it gives you the exact step-by-steps of what to do and what to say. And there's also a user guide that has all of the text that's in all of the info that's in the DVD is on text form in the user guide. So that is something that you'll learn once you have the product exactly what to say and how to praise the animal after the bad behavior and so forth. So the quote-unquote punishment is just the noise association combined with the unique sound that ShakeTrainer makes. Now, ShakeTrainer does make a very unique sound. When people will hold it, they'll tell that it's a different sound. It's a sound that the dog is just not used to. It's a sound that doesn't really sound like anything else. We were working on that for a very long time to make sure that the sound was just different and that the sound was also not going to scare the dog, but also not drive the homeowners and dog owners nuts. We wanted it to be something that could be, relatively quiet, but also very effective. So the sound was designed to not scare the dog. It was just designed to startle it. and it's a sound that your dog is not accustomed to. And this, in our opinion, the sound that ShakeTrainer makes is way better than any screaming that people do, or any terrible, unfortunately some people out there, they hit or or throw stuff. So we wanted to avoid all that. So negative reinforcement, there's some more info I wanted to talk about, like I said, about how it implies and how it occurs in our daily life. One example that I really like is wearing a seatbelt in a car. Everybody knows that if they don't put on their seatbelt in the car, there's a very annoying beeping sound that rings to let us know that we have to put on our belts. So the aversive beeping will be taken away or avoided when the behavior occurs, reinforcing the correct response. So we end up basically putting on our seatbelts just to avoid hearing that annoying sound. Obviously, there are benefits to wearing a seatbelt, but the reason why those alarms are there are to annoy us enough to put on the seatbelt. And that, by the way, that's an example of negative reinforcement in our own lives. And here's some more. When you drive a car, for example, and there's somebody in front of you that's just not listening, they're on their phone, they're texting while they're driving, and they shouldn't be. Don't text and drive, folks. It's not safe. The annoying car in front of you requires you're going to beep your horn to notify the car in front of you to move. So when the car moves, the annoying car is gone. So you have solved that problem by using also a negative reinforcement. Same with sunscreen. There's a hot sun out there. You put on the sunscreen, and the after effect is you don't have a sunburn. So there is negative reinforcement. We are used to negative reinforcement, and that's why we don't think there's an issue by using both positive and negative reinforcement in dog training. We like that it's very fast for the dog to understand right from wrong. And here you can see there's some other examples of negative reinforcement. Also, when we cook and when we have the alarm clock, blaring in the morning. So we have a coupon that we're giving all the Dogington Post readers, and when you go to our link, the ShakeTrainer.com/Dogington Post, you put in dog post, and you'll get $5 off for all of you guys. You get $5 off, and it's something that we figured we had to do, and I know Harlan was more than happy to give all of you guys that special gift, and we hope that you guys take advantage of that, and then you'll get the ShakeTrainer delivered at a very fast, very quickly, and you'll have it at a very good price. And this is the website, like I said. The ShakeTrainer we have here the 7-minute money-back guarantee. These are our awards. And the website is up here on the main page, ShakeTrainer.com at Dogington Post. Now, I don't know if Harlan has any sort of comments or questions that he wants to ask me, and maybe we can shoot back and forth.
Oh, sure. I've got lots of questions.
Go ahead.
Well, we trained Kalba. Actually, you trained Kalba to be to respond to the ShakeTrainer in about 2 seconds. That training, which you did, it must be 2 years ago? At least 2 years ago, has held the entire time. You, if we sit down at the table and Kalba thinks food, all we do is take the ShakeTrainer down and put it on the floor, and Kalba suddenly finds something else she'd rather do rather than be near the table.
It's amazing. I mean, dogs have an incredible memory, And like I was saying, that step one is what ingrains the it's what ingrains the ShakeTrainer in the dog's head. It's what they realize. They understand what ShakeTrainer means. It's not just a annoying sound to them. It really is a lesson. They just don't want to hear the sound because of the association of that step one. Now remind me if I was correct. She wasn't afraid of it. She just knew she was doing something wrong. Am I right?
Well, I don't know what she knew or what she didn't know. All I know is that she stopped the behavior.
Right. And when you consider all of the other options that are out there, when you want to stop a behavior, this is something that is just, it was easy as 1, 2, 3.
Now, I think that it's become associated in her mind with "don't go there." We only use it for that one purpose because, to tell you the truth, she doesn't have many behaviors that are annoying. Just that one, that she's the world champion food beggar. But it occurs to me, like, how can you shape the dog to multiple behaviors? In other words, how does she know which one to respond that she's responding to?
Well, the thing about ShakeTrainer is that in order for it to be effective, it has to be used during or right after that bad behavior was committed. So dogs live in the moment, and Kalba, when she sees the ShakeTrainer on the floor, when you're putting it down there and she's approaching the table to beg, she right away knows that ShakeTrainer is coming down because of her act right there in the moment. So if, let's say, somebody has a barking issue and they also have a food begging issue just like you do, the barking and the food begging don't necessarily take place together. So ShakeTrainer just has to be used during or right after the bad behavior was committed. So that's how they associate it. And are you still putting the ShakeTrainer down all the time, or is she also just learning it? She just figured it out eventually that she just shouldn't be begging anymore, even without the ShakeTrainer?
No, she actually hasn't figured it out because she has a secret weapon on her side called Grandma, who would love to. Kalba just stirred because she heard the word Grandma and she thinks that something is coming. The truth of the matter is, do you make ShakeTrainers for adults?
Yeah, that's a good question. If I got a nickel for every time I was asked that question, I would be a very, very, very rich man.
Okay, so we have some questions coming in. One of them is, do you need to keep the ShakeTrainer out of the dog's sight when it's not needed to avoid them getting used to it?
That's a very good question. You do not have to hide the ShakeTrainer. We designed it in a way where it's so aesthetically pleasing that it actually can be resting on a counter. It's almost a furniture piece for the house. It's made out of rolled steel, and it's powder coated white, and the bottom of it has a silicone rubber so it doesn't scratch or slip on a surface. So you don't have to hide it, but you should not shake it unnecessarily. What happens is the dog will get numb to the sound if it's used too often, and that's the issue. That's what you need to really work on, is you should not shake it unnecessarily. You don't want the dog to get immune to the sound. That's a very good question.
I've had people tell me, oh, they don't need a ShakeTrainer. All they need is some pebbles in a can, and that whenever the dog does something wrong, they should just shake the thing. That's actually not the philosophy of the ShakeTrainer. That's the philosophy of let's scare the crap out of our fur kid.
Absolutely. That's exactly right. ShakeTrainer takes it many steps farther than that. Obviously, there is a similarity to the handheld the shaking part of it and the noise. But we didn't want to just have a noisemaker to scare the dog. That's why I can't emphasize more is the DVD is just so important. That's that first step. When we did that step 1, I'm sure you realize that's when Kalba was learning what ShakeTrainer means, what that sound represents, and that part of it is so important because that's what makes ShakeTrainer a learning tool and not a scaring tool. So yeah, I mean, people are using empty soda cans or empty plastic bottles with pennies or rocks in them, and they're creating a noise maker. But that noise is just scaring your dog, and the dog doesn't really understand what that noise means. So we think it's very important that since dogs are smart enough to learn, that we teach them what that sound represents, and the effects are so much stronger, and the results are so much more apparent, and it's just incredible how quickly a dog will learn right from wrong once they understand that they're doing something wrong, and they figure out what that sound means. They'll know they're doing something wrong, and they don't want to hear that sound again because they really don't want that memory of losing that treat that one time when you did step 1.
Amazing. We got some questions coming in. Just begin to pile in. We have Iris asking, if you have 2 dogs in the same house, how do you get the association made for the bad behavior in only one dog without upsetting the other dog? Do they have to be in very separate places in the house or yard?
That's a very good question. We get asked that question a lot. No, see, dogs are very smart. When you shake, let's say one of your dogs, there's 2 dogs, and one of them barks, and you want that barking to stop. They're very good at recognizing their own names. So you can shake the ShakeTrainer and just say no, and then use their name. They'll know when they hear their names one from the other. Now, when you do step 1 and you have 2 dogs and you want both of them to be conditioned with step 1, you do have to separate them and do step 1 to each dog individually, preferably in their own room. So you can just go in a room, close the door, bring one dog in, and do step 1, and then let that one out, bring the other one in, and do step 1 on that one. So you do want to do step 1 individually, but when they're together and one of them is behaving, doing a bad behavior that you don't want them to do, just mention their name, and they'll know it's directed to them. And it's incredible how, I mean, I'm sure you've done that test where you say a random word and then you say the dog's name and then their ears perk up. They know their names.
Okay, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
Although someone that I know and love, her ears perk up and she starts dancing to the word T-R-E-A-T.
And I remember seeing that. It was pretty cute.
Does this keep a dog from running off? How do you do that?
Yeah, I mean, the running away part is one of the behaviors. And like I said, when the dog is running away, they're not going to be looking at the ShakeTrainer. So you have to shake the ShakeTrainer. That's when you'll get their attention, and you can then direct your animal back home. We've had a lot of situations where people have dogs when they open up the front door and the dog just tries to dart out, and the ShakeTrainer is actually a very good tool because the noise gets their attention as they're running away. Now, we suggest a lot of times most people seem to be complaining of their dog's bad behavior, and it seems like the front door is the area where the most bad behavior takes place. You know, the jumping up on people, the door charging, the unnecessary barking, all those things seem to take place there. So we recommend leaving a ShakeTrainer near the front door, especially if your issue is the dog running out, or even running out from the backyard. You want to keep the ShakeTrainer close to where the problem is.
Okay, fantastic. Next question. They're coming in. Is there only one sound?
Yeah, it's one sound, and it's a very consistent sound. All of them sound the same, and it's you'll see when you try it. It's a very interesting. Like we said, we needed it to be different. We needed the sound to be different so the dog can differentiate that sound from everything else that's out there. So it's only one sound. You can't really customize the sound or change it, but we assure you it's not a sound that will bother anybody in the house.
Okay, so we have next question comes from Sharon, who says, I have 6 cats and up to 8 foster kittens in my home. Is the sound of the ShakeTrainer going to scare or annoy them?
Well, the thing is that ShakeTrainer really wasn't developed for cats because I didn't have a cat problem at the time. But I can't, I'm not really so sure what it would do to your kitties. I'm thinking, I mean, there's no harm in trying it. I don't think the DVD would have any effect on them. There's nothing, you're not going to be able to really do step 1 on a cat. Not that I think so. But it would make a sound, it probably would just get their attention. I don't know if cats are, it also depends on how skittish your cats are, but this is not a product designed for cats. It's really strictly for dogs.
Well, I'm assuming that she's going to use it to train a dog, if that's my guess. And since the actual training takes place in a split second or two, I can't see it. In other words, it's not a cat training product. But
correct.
for the dog, I assume that, this is something that's going to happen one time and not be repeated.
Yeah, I misunderstood the question. I'm sorry. So, yeah, if there are cats in the house and you're going to train a dog with it, there's no issues whatsoever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. More questions. We've got a mom in here who wants to know if she can get one for her 4-year-old son.
Again, if I had a nickel for every time I was asked that question, I'd be right near Bill Gates.
Okay. Ronan asks a question. Given step 1 forms the association, any consideration to developing an iPhone app, a phone app, which would make the ShakeTrainer sound, which would allow much easier access in general life to the product when you're out and about?
Yeah, I've been actually told about that. I've been given that idea before. I don't think it would have the effect because the sound that ShakeTrainer makes, it's a metal against metal sound, and I don't think a phone could replicate that. And even if it doesn't replicate it, I don't think the phone speakers are loud enough to give the effect. Now, I'm not saying that the ShakeTrainer is really, really, really loud, but I think it's much louder than what the smartphone speaker sounds like. If that's the answer to somebody's question.
We've got a question here from Mealing who says, does it work on barking associated with separation anxiety? That is, barking whenever I leave the house or drop my dog at the groomer.
Right, that's a good question. Dogs, and I'm sure I just recently got a shelter dog, really cute mutt, and he has a very hard time with separation anxiety also, and I'm starting to realize I just think it's because he's a shelter dog, and shelter dogs in general just get very, very attached to their owners because they don't want to feel abandoned. So ShakeTrainer is something that might get their it's gonna let them know. Like I've put ShakeTrainer on the floor near where, because when I leave we have like a doggy gate, and we leave the dog in the kitchen, and the dog has the entire kitchen to roam around. So I leave the doggy gate, I leave the ShakeTrainer inside the kitchen on the floor, and I've tried to see if there's a difference with when I leave, and he does bark a lot less. Because he knows that behavior is not proper. It's not the right behavior. But it didn't stop it fully. the way ShakeTrainer really has an effect is when you're there in person and you can shake it. But I have to say, there are many people, many of our customers who have tried it, and while I might not have had success with my crazy little mutt who's so attached to me, it's amazing. He just wants to go everywhere with me. There's been many customers of ours who have said that they've used it for that kind of barking for separation anxiety, and it worked wonders. They just stop barking. Some even crate train their dogs, and they'll just leave the ShakeTrainer right near the crate, and the dog won't bark. So there's definitely lots and lots of positive feedback and testimonials that we've received. But in my personal experience with my little Charlie, he's just so high strung that it did subdue him. It subsided his barking, but not fully. But I just want everyone to know that there's definitely a very good chance that it would work.
Okay, another question. Is the ShakeTrainer sound more effective than ultrasonic handheld training devices?
Absolutely, because the ultrasound hurts their ears. It's not a pleasant noise for the dogs, and it's something that we wanted to avoid. We didn't want to create a sound that's going to pierce through their eardrums and really, and cause any sort of pain. So the ultrasound machines, I'm not a fan. I'm assuming you're not either, Harlan. It's just they're not the most humane choice out there, and they don't have a real training. There's no real training behind it. It's just a noise that bothers the dog.
All right. Well, we're going to go to our. We're going to find a winner here from people who are on. We've got people. Now, I'm going to tell you something, folks, that our listeners at the Dogington Post are the smartest listeners in the world. It is rare that I even get to finish a question before they already have the answer in there. Okay? So that means that you should have like your fingers on the keypad ready to type in immediately, because otherwise you're gonna miss out. So let me take the controls back from you and get ready to okay. Here we go. The first person to answer this question correctly wins a ShakeTrainer. Okay, so get your typing fingers ready, because here we go. Sent to me by the team. What % of dog owners are giving up their dogs because of behavior problems? Okay, we have an answer, and that is Peggy. Peggy won it. It is 30%. You were the first one in. I told you gotta be fast here, Peggy. If you'll send us your address to or Brooke, let's see. You'll just send us our address to info@dogingtonpost.com. We'll get that over to Sean, and your ShakeTrainer will be on the way. Congratulations. If you want to get a ShakeTrainer for yourself, go over to ShakeTrainer. Brooke, if you could type that in again. uh, ShakeTrainer.com/dog post. It's in the chat box. We'll post it in again. And they add, what is it? Dog post?
Dogington Post. It's ShakeTrainer.com/Dogington Post.
And what do they do to get the discount?
When they get to the coupon, once they get to the checkout, there's a coupon space. You just put dog post as the coupon, and that's where you get the $5 discount.
Fantastic. Now, folks, as you heard from personal experience, it took like 2 seconds to train Kalba years ago, and she's still trained. It's really an awesome product. We're big believers in ShakeTrainer. When you get it, I just ask you, please go through the DVD. It's really short, but it will blow you away, and it will make sure that you are using it correctly. Please watch the DVD. It's short, it's simple, you'll love it. Absolutely. Sean, thanks for being here today. Brooke, thanks for helping set it up. Brandy's also on the call. We'll be posting this webinar so you can watch it again. Everybody have a terrific day. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you so much.